Hi there. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar that we're going to be discussing on the WiCyS Security Training Scholarship Program. My name is Lynn Dome, and I'm Women in Cybersecurity Executive Director. We also go by our acronym WiCyS. We spell it WiCyS, and we pronounce it WiCyS like we sisters because we're a global cyber sisterhood. So our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. We have over 8,100 members with representation in over 85 countries. We also have 61 professional affiliates, which are extensions of the WiCyS global organization. And they're all throughout Africa, Australia, Canada, France, India, Pakistan, Norway, Israel, the UK, and throughout the United States. We have corporate affiliates, which are WiCyS MITRE, WiCyS Lockheed Martin, and then we have specialty affiliates in AI, BSO, critical infrastructure, cloud security, data privacy and cybersecurity law, LGBTQ plus pride, colors of inclusion, Latinas in cybersecurity, cybersecurity healthcare, military, neurodiversity, deaf, and so many others. And in addition to all of that, we also have 224 student chapters with Microsoft Philanthropies funding a global student chapter initiative. And so what we do is we provide opportunities and accessibility to cybersecurity. We layer it with resources and mentoring, and we align it with our 67 strategic partners that fund us year-round. So we have many different initiatives that support that, with the skill development training program being one of them. So that's what we're here to talk about today. But we also have scholarships, grants, and awards. We have inclusion and allyship resources. We have a job board plus that all our strategic partners go into and pull resumes, and all our members have access to update their profiles, upload their resumes, and get recruited from. As a matter of fact, we have a virtual career fair that's coming up in August. Well, it is August, but it will be coming up, I believe it's August 16th, but you have to check out our website to learn more about that. We have apprenticeship programs, internship programs, all sorts of resources, speakers bureau, media opportunities, and so much more. So we owe all that thanks to our strategic partners, with their tier one being Akamai, Amazon, AT&T Cybersecurity, Battelle, Bloomberg, Carnegie Mellon Software Engineering Institute, Cisco, Ford, Fortinet, Google, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Optum, Sandia National Labs, and SentinelOne. So the purpose of today's discussion is that we have great key players in the Security Training Scholarship. We're going in our 4th year of the program, and we're here to answer all your questions. So please, in the bottom of your screen, there's like a little chat function there. We are queuing up those questions as they're coming in. So don't wait until the end of the webinar. Just put your questions in the queue, and we'll be prioritizing those as the webinar is going on. So we're here today because we know that there are 2 problems with building an effective cybersecurity workforce: is you can't have diversity if you don't have the pipeline, and it's hard to have the pipeline if you don't have diversity. And so what we've done is, one of our many initiatives is we built out the Security Training Scholarship Program to help fill that void. And so the program is created originally in 2020 by Google in partnership with the SANS Institute. And SANS is going to, or SANS, Max is going to be talking a little bit more about that in just a second. And then in 2021, we scaled that program with Google, Meta, and Bloomberg. In 2022, we scaled the program again with Google, Meta, Bloomberg, and Craig Newmark Philanthropies. And now we're going into our 4th Security Training Scholarship. So we're really excited to share more about the program and just talk about how this will benefit you as someone that's interested in cybersecurity, to come right into this clear pathway going from little to no experience of cybersecurity into cybersecurity careers. So this program is meant to change lives and also impact the industry. We built out the program intentionally with tiers. So tier 1 being that gamified learning for all applicants, tier 2 being the cyber aptitude test, tier 3 is cyber foundations, and tier 4 is advanced cyber training. The reason why we built out that program, the program like this, is that no matter where you're at in every tier, if you don't advance to the next tier, you're walking away with a skill set that you didn't have prior to joining the program. So no matter where you're at, whether you're just newly learning about cybersecurity, just starting to be interested in maybe a cybersecurity career, or you're a career changer, you're a student, and you want to have that clear pathway into cybersecurity fields and jobs, we encourage you to apply for this program because you're always going to get a learning experience out of it, and you're always going to walk away with something. So what makes this program unique is truly the power of community. And so we have the dear Hannah here, and she's going to talk a little bit more about that and how the cohort and the community and the wraparound services is what sets WiCyS apart in building out this program. And it's also having the individuals that are selected as scholarship recipients performing at a higher range than industry averages. So the power of the community and the cohort and the program management and the technical mentoring that Caitlin brings and the wraparound services with the Ask Me Anythings and the open office hours, that is really set up for you all to have the success that you need to move forward with it. But also the program is looking for the hidden talent. So if you're currently a hairstylist and you are interested in cybersecurity, this is the program for you. It's an inclusive space for you to come into where you belong to explore more. We're here to elevate those with aptitude, grit, and determination, and we're empowering all participants with the real world skills that you need in order to build upon in your cybersecurity career. So it's meant to change lives. We have heard thousands of stories within the WiCyS organization since we've started in 2014 as a conference, and then we became a nonprofit in 2018 about how we do change lives. But this program in particular has advanced 121 women into being into their cybersecurity careers within 12 months of completing it. We're not going to say it was easy, but it's an inclusive space for you to know that you could join it, and we're here to support you on your journey through it. And so with that, I'm going to pass the mic on over to Max, and he is going to dive a little deeper into the programming efforts itself.
Thanks, Lynn. My name is Max, as Lynn said. I lead mission and partnerships at SANS Institute. SANS is a global cybersecurity training provider, but the core of what we do at Mission within SANS is focused on growing and diversifying the cybersecurity workforce. And our partnership with WiCyS is a key part of that effort. And so we're really excited about the fourth year of the WiCyS Security Training Scholarship. It's been a privilege to see the growth of this program since we started it during the worst of the COVID pandemic back in spring of 2020. We really have kind of designed this program out over these 4 years and made updates along the way to try to ensure that everyone who participates gets some learning, and that those who go through each of the stages walk away with skills they can take into future endeavors. But those especially reaching the final stages are well positioned to pursue jobs now, while others gain skills that can be applied to jobs in the future and future educational or training opportunities they pursue. So on that note, as you'll see, the first component of the program is what we call a boot up capture the flag, which is really an introductory capture the flag, a problem solving interactive activity or exercise where each applicant gets to participate. They solve problems where you can discover your passion and talent for cybersecurity. You can communicate with your peers who are going through the same capture the flag in a Slack channel. You get hints along the way, and you're really solving challenges that require grit, research, determination, and critical thinking. Things related to pattern recognition, looking at images for hidden information, learning about Caesar ciphers and the principles of encryption, and really just getting that introduction to security, learning and competing at the same time to be that training capture the flag. And so that's how the program starts. This runs for several days, and that's how it'll start again this year. And after that, the program team at WiCyS and their partners review all of the results of candidates in the first stage, look at both their performance in the introductory CTF, as well as some of the other information you submit in an application, like your career goals, your passion for security, what kind of career you want to launch. And then some segment of folks move into the next stage, which would be the Cyber Start stage, I believe. And in that stage, you continue to go through gamified learning, but not for, in a 2 or 3 day basis, but for several months, where you play the role of a cyber protection agent in a game called Cyber Start. In this game, you're still learning those fundamentals, building skills in things like investigations, cryptography, and encryption, learning about coding and Python and C, learning about defensive security, and learning even a little bit about offensive security and forensics. But beyond just competing and playing a game to solve challenges, you have a plethora of resources at your disposal. The game includes a series of videos from a subject matter expert providing instruction on the very topics the challenges are covering, and library of knowledge in terms of reading materials online, where you can read about those areas, or you can read about those tools, and you are encouraged to do research along the way to use resources to solve the challenges, so you continue learning, but also build your skills. And at the same time, you're still in a Slack community, connecting with your various peers in the program, connecting with Caitlin, as we'll talk about in a minute, and just building that sense of community and skill development. And then in the third stage, we do, again, the program teams look at everyone on how they perform, their career goals, their application info, and some segment of participants are invited to take a cognitive aptitude assessment, trying to identify what area of cybersecurity you're most interested in and have a strong aptitude for, whether being a forensics investigator or a cloud security specialist or a SOC analyst is the right path, or something more along the lines of governance, risk, and compliance, or investigations, and so on. And this is a tool called CyberGen IQ, which comes from Haystack Solutions, another strategic partner of WiCyS. And so finally, going back to that pyramid Lynn showed before, folks who have gone through the first three stages are selected for the final stage, which is two parts. Trying to really start to take the skills you've learned through gamification and reinforce and build on them in more traditional online training, starting with the professional training course, one that's used by federal law enforcement and Fortune 1000 corporations for their own security staff at an entry level, to teach you those same skills in things like Linux and defensive security, incident handling, introductory to forensics, learning about computer hardware and network infiltration. And as you learn those skills, you reinforce them through practical labs, practicing Linux command line, practicing Python, and then eventually pursue an industry certification to validate those skills, so that you can go to an employer and demonstrate that you have those skills, validated by GIAC, which is a certification sister org of SANS Institute, that you've learned these skills and can deploy them in the workforce at an entry level and get into the field. And for those who succeed on that foundational training and certification, you'll move into more advanced training, where you take up to 2 additional training courses. Again, the same exact courses that professionals in the field and roles like SOC analyst or penetration testing will be taking in their day jobs. And you're getting those same skills and pursuing those same industry certifications from GIAC. So you can go to an employer as you graduate and, you've got that security incident handling skill set, or you've got that security cloud security analysis skill set, and you're ready to move into a job role such as those. And that's really what we all try to focus on here, is empowering individuals in this program to learn, walk away with skills, and for those who make it to the final stages, being job ready on day one. So on that note, like Lynn said, it's been really amazing to see this program scale over the last 4 years. I think in the first year, we had 12 participants make it to the most advanced stage. Obviously, that's growing year over year, as each stage has, and we're hoping to continue to grow it this year and in the future. I'm really excited about kicking off the applications tomorrow. So with that, I do want to introduce Caitlin Boyce. Caitlin is by day, a security research engineer with Elastic. She's worked with SANS and WiCyS since the outset of this program in 2020 to really serve as a community mentor at every stage of the program, being behind the students and trying to lift them up and trying to, talk them down from quitting and talk them through the challenges, because it takes a lot of grit, determination, and hard work to go through the different stages here. She actually came into security herself through a reskilling scholarship-based program called the SANS Women's Academy, and has been in security since 2018. So Caitlin, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll go back and forth a bit Q&A style, but could you just start out by telling us a bit about yourself and your journey into cybersecurity?
Yeah, thanks, Max. I will add to that a little bit. I'm seeing some questions about cyber backgrounds and ages and things like that. So maybe I can help address that. And I know Hannah will talk about her experience as well. So when I entered a SANS Immersion Academy, like Max said, I was in maybe my 3rd year of computer science graduate school. And I had been, prior to that, a nonprofit development kind of lead and done bartending and professional baking and kind of everything in between. So a lot of service industry and a lot of kind of liberal arts stuff. I didn't have a ton of, beyond my computer science, a ton of technical background. I was fairly comfortable with tech, but that is about it. I think when I entered the Immersion Academy, I was probably 33. So I would say by the time I finished, I think my first job in cyber, I was about 35. So if that answers any of those questions for you, if you're thinking that you are too old, even if you're older than that, I do not think that you should, I don't think you should select yourself out like that. But that is a little bit of my background. My first job was industrial control systems, security, research and development. And then I moved from that to my current position, which is more generalized cybersecurity research and development for Elastic.
Sorry, I was muted still. Thanks, Caitlin. Can you talk a little bit about, this program to date? I mean, you've been involved since almost the very beginning. I think once Lynn, Ann, Barine, and I had come up with this wild idea and we realized we needed to structure it and implement it, you were brought in pretty quickly to help make that happen. So, you've seen it grow from something we were experimenting with to something we saw with promising results to now we're trying to scale based on the results and the impact we've seen it have on people. So can you just talk a little bit about the 3 years you've had so far, leading and driving this program, working with the individual students, and what your experience has been?
Yes, for sure. So I, like I said before, came from a SANS Immersion Academy, the Women's Immersion Academy. I felt like the training that I received and the kind of assistance after the training, as far as employment kind of services and just general advice and relationships that I formed in that training, were so valuable to me eventually entering the field that I was very, very grateful to be able to be a part of a program that was going to continue holding that door open for other women. So I have been lucky enough to kind of be both a technical advisor for the training and kind of a community mentor, community builder. And I value both of those roles, I think, pretty equally. I think that the technical skills that you are gaining in the program are kind of invaluable. I don't know where else you would get this kind of training in this amount of time. And on a scholarship basis, I can compare it to grad school and say that I got a lot more out of my Immersion Academy than I did in a lot of grad school. So that is both excellent and kind of a bummer. But I will say that the other component of it that I have, not that I was surprised to find, but that I've really been excited and proud of, is how strong of a community is built during the training. I think it's really, really lovely to have seen the way that the cohorts support each other, support alumni, come back and support other WiCyS groups, are really just invested in the general success of really all WiCyS members, all women in cyber. And I think that really speaks to the caliber of applicants, the caliber of people who make it through the training. But that really is something that I think goes unmentioned a little bit. Yes, you're getting a lot of technical skill. Yes, you're getting prepared for a job in the field, but you really also are forming some pretty amazing bonds with the people that are in your cohort and with other WiCyS members during that time.
Yeah. So on that note, the common phrase is a picture tells 1,000 words. You talk a little bit about the picture on this slide and what it meant for everyone to meet up at this last year's WiCyS conference.
Yeah, this is from last year from the cohort. So a part of the scholarship is you are granted a scholarship to go to the WiCyS conference, which is really special because this is one of the few programs that offers SANS training where people are taking the training from all over the world. Generally, they are confined to the US or Canada. So it's really, really special for everybody to get to travel, everybody who is able to make it and meet each other. I think we look at each other on computer screens for, I don't know, like 7 months, and then we get to meet in person, and it's very surreal. It's very cool. And kind of go through some of the conference and the training and the looking for employment and all of that. Like maybe a little bit stressful your first time on your own, but you have a built-in support system to do it with. So yeah, this is the third year that we've gotten to meet up. And it's the best. It's really kind of the best part, actually. It's like, it's not the end of the program, but I always think it's kind of like the apex.
Nice. Two last questions. So first off, for everyone on today who might be considering applying for this program, what would you say to them? What's your message to them about why apply, or, why take the leap and take the chance?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the one piece of advice I would give anyone ever, whether applying for this scholarship or whether applying for employment, is don't self-select out. I think you owe it to yourself to just look into the program, apply, go through some of the initial training. Really another favorite thing about this program, I love so many things about it, but the fact that at every tier you get some amount of cyber experience. So when I came into the Immersion Academy, there was kind of this expectation that you were already interested in cyber and you already had some amount of provable experience in the study. But this is so nice because no matter where you come in, you're going to get a little bit of experience, and it's really meant to start with people who maybe have no prior exposure to cyber, or are just kind of interested, or just kind of checking it out. So the great thing about that is, even if you end up not making it all the way to the final training, to the SANS advanced training, I have seen applicants come back year after year and advance further and further because they are in different places in their journey. So it might spark something in you that makes you realize that this is something that you really want to do. It might open you up to other training opportunities elsewhere. I might see you again next year. But I would say it's worth it, even if you don't make it to the SANS training. That I would say, just do it. Again, like don't be worried that you don't have the right experience for it, that you are too old for it, that you are not qualified for it. I think definitely, Hannah, there's lots of us that feel that way about ourselves, regardless of whether that's true or not. So my big thing is encouraging people to, I think, believe in themselves and give themselves that opportunity. So I would say if you are here, you're probably interested enough to go ahead and just apply.
Awesome. Okay, last question. We've alluded to it and you've indirectly talked about it, but can you just now kind of formally give your 3-minute overview of what you do for the program, throughout the different stages, day to day, week to week, et cetera?
Yeah, so I am generally in the background of the Slack, kind of lurking and seeing what's going on and making sure everybody's doing okay and nobody's losing their mind, and trying to facilitate study groups and Zooms, and even before that, just make sure that if there are any technical questions, say in like the CTF or in the game phase, that there's somebody there. If none of the cohort jumps in to answer, then I will jump in and help out there. Kind of a liaison between WiCyS and SANS and the actual cohort, making sure people have employment services when they're ready to start looking for that, when they know where to go for all of that stuff. So I'm kind of like a little catch-all of if you're having any kind of need or breakdown, I try to be there.
Awesome. So on that note, in terms of the program, I think you can talk last bit just a little bit about what you've seen it enable individuals to do in terms of the jobs they moved into, and then I think we've gotten an alumni on to talk a bit that you can introduce as well.
Yeah, I my favorite thing, like I said before, I love to see people come from really not having any cyber experience to getting a job in the field, within a year, which is pretty bonkers. The really amazing thing is that the students that we see graduate from this program are all just incredibly gifted and valued employees. I think that really speaks to the quality of the training and just the time that is put into doing this learning and to preparing. I think that is what I would say. the alumni, and also you will be with people from all different backgrounds. So you will have some people who have a little bit of cyber experience or who are in school. You will have some people who, like Christine, who was a physical therapist, or like me, who had a little bit of school but was also service industry. You get the whole gamut of that. Yeah.
Great. And what I love about this program, Caitlin, and you talked about it just a little bit, is that individuals are hearing about the program through all sorts of ways, through people posted on LinkedIn, through previous scholars recipients, and they're making this opportunity accessible. And that's what we're here to do, is make this opportunity. So if you're even ever have the inkling of, maybe I'm not technical, but what's cybersecurity all about? Or you have just the slightest of interest, that you're taking the first step, and that's diving in. And it's really important to navigate that way through, especially a cybersecurity career, because you're always just diving into new scenarios all the time. And so this is an opportunity for us to encourage anyone that's on the call here today, and for you all to not only champion yourselves, but champion others, to just dive right in and apply for this programming effort to get into Tier 1 and start exploring what Tier 1 has to offer you. And then we'll determine about that advancement to the next phase. And from there, you'll be continuing to learn and grow and expand your knowledge and your skill set. But you won't know until you start exploring into it. And so I'd love to just take this opportunity to pass the mic on over to Hannah to share her story, and then we'll touch base on Christine too, who wasn't able to join us here today. But for right now, we'll have Hannah just go ahead and share your story with us, please.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah, and I'm here to share a bit of my awesome experience with the WiCyS Security Training Scholarship Program. I currently work at Proofpoint, and I'm the lead cybersecurity analyst on the takedown team. But before I landed this awesome job, believe it or not, I was actually a librarian. I found myself just seeking a more challenging career path, so I kind of dipped my toes into cybersecurity, and I really haven't looked back since. Cyber is one of those great career paths. It's a treasure trove of options and possibilities, which is great, but that can also be pretty overwhelming for people starting out or switching careers. On my own, I had already decided to get some basic certifications, just something to kind of get my foot in the door, but I knew that I didn't want to stop there. But I admit that I was a little lost on where to go next, like what steps would be the best for me to take in my career. Thankfully, one of my friends told me about WiCyS, and they really said that I could find some support and some guidance. So I went there, and that's actually when I stumbled on the Security Training Scholarship Program. Sounded like a little bit of fun. It was definitely a significant opportunity. So I thought, why not give it a shot? And it actually turned out to be one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Like they already mentioned, the first 2 tiers, they really start out with the capture the flag events, which were completely new to me. I was a total beginner. I had to rely very heavily on Google searches and lots of energy drinks to push through. But I'm really, really glad I did, because it was a blast. It not only provided some healthy competition and a fun way to learn something new and hands-on, but it also, for me personally, just reignited my love for puzzles and for problem solving. And that has already helped shape my career, because I was able to take what I learned in those CTFs and then go to the WiCyS Conference CTF, where I actually placed first for my division. And winning that helped me showcase my skills to my manager, which ultimately led to a promotion and a raise at work. And that was, totally before the SANS stuff. So like they said, even if you don't make it all the way through, there's still tons of benefits you can take out from something like this. But obviously those SANS courses and certifications that come with the program, they are such massive opportunities. And I know that I would not have been able to take those if I had tried to do this on my own. Being newer to the field, I was worried that I would be a little bit in over my head, but I was very quickly reassured because these courses are designed for everyone, from beginners like me to seasoned pros, and they do support many different types of learning styles, which was very helpful as well. I won't sugarcoat it. The program is challenging. It requires serious commitment. It's not just about the self-motivation to stay on track with the program's timeline, but you also need to be organized. You need to make time for studying and for lab work, and you need to have patience with yourself, especially because you're diving into all these complex topics that are going to be new for a lot of you. But most importantly, at least I think you need to be willing to ask for help when you need it. Juggling everyday life alongside program participation sometimes left us feeling like we were running on caffeine and just sheer will. But I truly believe that it's in those kinds of moments of pushing your limits that you really grow. And the sense of accomplishment that I felt when overcoming those obstacles was really quite unmatched. The best part, though, like Caitlin said, is that you're not doing any of this alone. I don't care if it sounds a little cheesy, but my cohort went from being regular participants to study buddies to a really, really tight-knit family. Whether it was brainstorming solutions to the CTF challenges, or sharing memes about the SANS instructors, or just kind of supporting each other through the ups and the downs. That collective strength from my group, and also people like Caitlin and Max and Lynn and all of them, it was really priceless. And I think that feeling of camaraderie really does stick with you, not only throughout the program, but also well after as well. So if you are hesitant about applying, I encourage you, just take the leap. Just take the leap and submit your application. At the end of the day, all of the work that you're going to put in is an investment in yourself. And what you do with opportunities like this one is what's going to help determine your level of success in this field. With this program, I think you'll find that it's not just about fitting into cybersecurity, but also finding your place within it where you can shine the brightest. You might find that you have a passion for ethical hacking or cybersecurity policy or digital forensics. I mean, there are so many possibilities to choose from. So I really just encourage you guys, just take the leap, embrace the challenge, because you won't forget it, and your future self really will thank you for it. Thank you guys for letting me share with you. I really cannot wait to see all the new faces for this next round and to see everybody at the conference next year. And I really do wish each and every one of you good luck.
Okay, I'm going to jump in. Christine, unfortunately, could not make it today, but I already referenced her earlier. She was a student in the first cohort of the scholarship, and I really love telling her story for a couple of reasons. One, I already told you guys I have a special place in my heart for people who just come from no cyber experience to becoming accomplished in the field. And something, and I hope that Christine doesn't mind me sharing this, something that I think is really special about Christine is there were several times during the training where she came to me with real self-doubt about how she was going to complete it, how she was going to do, how she was ever going to find a job. And she really invested in herself. She really kept pushing through. And she ended up accepting an offer from Booz Allen Hamilton as a cloud security analyst. She was on the cloud security track. And even since then, she, I believe, has been promoted. So I think that she is really inspiring, and she's a great example of, even if you are unsure if you are capable of this, I think we have become really good at identifying candidates who are good fits, and who are, not only that, are really valuable and really needed in the field. And I think that something that maybe hasn't been mentioned is that each and every one of you, no matter what your background is, that diversity of background is really, really valuable and really needed, and what makes you unique and special and an asset. So if you're thinking you don't have the right skill set, you do have some real valuable experience, and especially if that experience and that point of view is different, like you're very, very needed. So I think Christine's a great example of that. She's really found success. She really enjoys her position, and I hope that encourages you to apply as well.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah, for sharing your story. We always love hearing your story. Makes me just very happy to hear you speak about your experience. And of course, thank you, Caitlin, too, for sharing Christine's story. And so the stories go on and on and on. I mean, let me just fast forward here real quickly. And I know we have tons of questions, but here's our first scholarship cohort. Amazing. And then they were employed there. So starting from zero into employment. Our second cohort for 2021 to 2022, this is how they started, and this is how it's going. And then our existing cohort that Hannah's a part of right now, this cohort right here. And they're ongoing in the programming effort, but it's just been an amazing experience for everyone. And so this is opening your doors into cybersecurity, and we want you to join us. And this security training program going into this fourth year, we're really proud to let everyone know that it's now institutionalized as part of an ongoing effort with the WiCyS organization, thanks to our tier 1 strategic partners and our premier sponsors and supporters there. So it's really important for them investing in the industry to invest in you, but it's really important for you to invest in you. And by signing up and taking that first leap is the place to be. So lots of questions here. And I just want to leave before we hand it over to the questions that are coming in, which there's tons of questions. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to them all, but we'll try our best. But if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the WiCyS newsletter. Go to WiCyS.org. Upper right-hand corner is the subscribe. That's where you'll learn all things about the WiCyS organization. This scholarship is available for WiCyS members. So you do need to be a WiCyS member to be able to apply for it. So with that, I'm going to kind of just dive right in. Max, Caitlin, is there anything that you want to add before we go into the questions?
No, just thanks everybody for joining. Thanks, Hannah, for sharing, and Caitlin for sharing both your personal stories.
Yeah, that's great. So what is the selection criteria for the scholarship? That is the first question. So the selection criteria is 1, you have to be a WiCyS member. 2, if you have high level, like a master's degree in cybersecurity, you're well on your way. You're already good. So we're investing in those that this opportunity wouldn't be available or accessible to them otherwise. And so we're really looking to seek out hidden talent. And so there's some criteria there where we're taking a look at where you're coming from in your essay. Like why is this scholarship important to you, and what you're going to do with that. So what we're seeking with our criteria is kind of that grit, that determination. And also when you get into the first tiers, is also that communication. It's really, really important. We talk a lot about that cohort. And some people are like, well, I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk too much. I just want to lurk behind the scenes. Well, the reality is we're here to build teams, and communicating is part of that. And so championing one another through every step of the way is a really important part, not only to this cohort, but also to life. And so you have to get out of your comfort zone with that, and you have to engage with others and be a part of the learning experience. They're going to learn with you. Others are going to help you learn and grow, and you have to be part of that contributor there too. So can you estimate how many hours per day or week is needed for the phases to be successful in the program? This is a hard program. Like when you get into the higher level tiers, it is going to be a commitment. And so you have to be ready to commit to that. But Caitlin, maybe you could best answer that question.
Yeah, I think we generally tell people that depending on the stage, it's going to be between 10 and 20 hours a week. I will say like Hannah said, it's very challenging. It's an intensive, accelerated learning program. So for instance, we have lots of people who are students and people who are working full time, and it's really hard. It's hard to balance. I know Hannah can attest. And when I was in school, I ended up cutting back my school schedule so that it wouldn't take away from my SANS training. I think you will find that you are missing social interaction and sleeping less. So.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that just to say that one thing that was really great about once you're in is that with that Slack channel and stuff, you can create study groups. A lot of our cohort is, pairing off into little groups and made things a lot easier. And I mentioned the learning styles as well. Like, it all depends on how you learn and how you can take in information, and that will decide how long you will spend on something. For me personally, I found myself not spending as much time on the first one, but then, like they said, that last course, I was definitely locked in my room for the weekend, each time just making sure my index was color coded the exact way I needed it to be. But you'll find that you have a lot of support with your cohort as well.
And I'll add, it is self-paced. So there's nobody there to drive it beyond you and the timeline that you have given us as far as your training. So it really does require not only the hours, but the self-motivation as well. You're not doing it alone, but it is ultimately on you to drive that learning.
Great, thank you. Max, are we eligible for the scholarship if we had the GFACT through another program?
I'm going to let Caitlin answer that, because I think we actually had that come up last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did have a few people who came in with their GAC or GFACT and came in a little bit either late or they started their GSEC early, depending on what their schedule allowed. I believe that will be allowable again this year. I know there are some programs. I think we had some from like Cyber Start, Cyber Fast Track that had a GFACT there. I think we're still accepting those students. You would not get an additional course, but you would get those second to advanced training courses.
Great.
And I'm just going to say yes to the question regarding the United Kingdom. So we
Yes,
can
done.
check that one.
Yes. Is this program only for someone who comes with no background in cyber? I have experience in cyber, still want to be interested, apply. It's for you. The program's for you. How long does it take to complete the program? It is a full year commitment, right? From start, like when your application gets accepted, if you continue to advance through each and every tier, it's a solid year. Am I right on that? Or does it go a little over a year?
I think about a year.
Yeah, like right under, like right at it, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Do cohorts work in government sector as well as private industry?
Yeah, we just had somebody actually picked up from our cohort today for a job at the DoD. So definitely government are looking at our graduates as well.
Excellent. Are people who are just completed one of the certified in cybersecurity? Yes, everyone is eligible. It doesn't matter what previous program you were in. You could just go ahead and apply for this program. Do people manage the trainings while holding down separate full-time jobs? Yes. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a commitment, and you have to be just committed into this 1 year investment. So were you going to add something, Caitlin?
I was going to say, we had someone in this cohort have a literal baby, like a whole human. So it's all, people have jobs, people have families. It's something you have to tack on.
Is there a cost to start? No, everything within the WiCyS, all the WiCyS offerings are all included as part of your WiCyS membership. So you do have to be a WiCyS member. Do we have to take, if you've already taken the CyberGen IQ assessment, you won't be taking it again because that score doesn't change. It just picks up your previous, results from that. So I have looked into the Google cybersecurity certificate on Coursera. Do you think it's good to have initial background in cybersecurity? You can have it. You don't have to have it. Hannah, did you have any other background?
So I'd had some certifications that I got on my own, but I was brand new. Like all the stuff with the CTFs and things like that, the actual using it was totally new to me. So it's nice to have, but you will learn everything you need to learn while doing the program.
Great. Yeah, and I see a question came in about our job board. That's something that you could email our job board folks at info@WiCyS.org to answer any questions about any other programs within WiCyS. So do you help with creating a work portfolio for your resume? Is it some of the technical services supported on SAN's side, Max or
I
Caitlin?
mean, I think between your community mentor with Caitlin, and then obviously as you get into the final stages, you do have access to the SANS Career Services team, and certainly WiCyS, excuse me, as mentors too. I think there is a plethora of individuals you can work with to do something like that, but I will say that what they'll all try to do is give you guidance, but not the solution, right? They're not going to write a resume for you. They're not going to write a script for a mock interview. They're going to try to give coaching and advice to help empower you to do that task or write that portfolio.
And remember, part of the top tier recipients are also going to be going to the WiCyS conference. And with that will be your lodging and, a stipend for airfare, and then the registration, meals, and all that good stuff. But part of that is that we have the Career Village, which offers all those different services there. Then we have the Career Fair. And your technical mentors and your mentors in the program, they're going to all prep you the best they can so that you can make the most out of your WiCyS in-person conference experience. But then there's also the virtual Career Fair. We have our mentor-mentee program, and there's all sorts of different other ways that we can engage you with others to help learn. So the application does open tomorrow, and it closes on the 30th, I believe. Should be on the website. So, lost connection. Is there a deadline to complete? Well, that's all on the website. About any deadlines or timelines, that's all on the website. It seems as if everyone that participates has a degree in something. I'm an older person that works. I don't have a degree. Is this for me, or should I try to get a degree or just CompTIA certifications and hope to get the experience? This program was invented for you, quite honestly. That's why we have this program. So please, apply to get in. Do you want to add something, Hannah?
I just want to tell you kind of what Caitlin hit on. Imposter syndrome is real. There's a little voice that's telling you you're not good enough, or that you can't do it, or there's all these reasons why you shouldn't apply. And honestly, you should just smack that thing away and apply anyways, because that's exactly what this program is set for. Some of us, I had a degree and stuff. I was working, doing something, but it wasn't what I wanted to do, and I knew that I needed help to do it. And this program did exactly that for me.
Great. Someone asked, can you start working before the program is over? I do think some scholarship recipients got job offers before they even finished the program. So absolutely. If we're already currently in another program certification through WiCyS, are we still eligible to apply for this scholarship? You're interested, but just want to make sure. If you get accepted in this scholarship, the top tier program, we wouldn't want you in any other program at that time, because it's just too challenging. This has to have your full commitment. It's an investment by our tier 1 partners, by your premier supporters, and through other funders to invest in you to get you through this program. And so we need you invested in yourself to adhere to that commitment. So, but I don't think there's any other programs. If you get accepted into this program, it shouldn't compete with any other current existing programming efforts that you're within WiCyS, so that shouldn't be a problem. Are the CERT exams paid for? Yes, all of that is included within this scholarship, receiving the scholarship. How many spots are available? Well, depending on the continued contributions of the funders, we determine that as the program launches. So right now we have plenty of spots available, and we still continue to grow that. How does the program compare to other schools such as Berkeley or Davis? Well, this is a certification program. I don't know, SANS, why do I keep, Max, why do I keep on calling you SANS?
Must be the whatever's above either shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just different, like you said, right? Look, the administration came out yesterday with the Office of the National Cyber Director and stressed the importance of employers hiring individuals with skills and credentials, not with degrees in this field. A 4-year degree in the field does not correlate to success, and it is not needed to be effective in the field. So how does it compare? It's different, but it helps get people to work quicker with the skills they need to perform jobs. For the most part, employers with staff in cybersecurity send them to training with many organizations, but obviously SANS being a prominent one, to get upskilled with hands-on skills they can put to work in their job. So yeah, I think that's how I would compare the two. I think if you're looking to get technical skills you can put to work in a SOC analyst job or an incident handler job, this is the type of program you're looking for.
Great, thanks, Max. And I see a lot of questions are coming in about like membership. All of that information could be found on our website. Membership, you go under the join on the WiCyS.org. If you have questions about the timeline or any deadlines, all that is clearly outlined on the WiCyS security training program. And that link is available to you within this kind of webinar format. So it's there somewhere. But once you advance to the higher levels with the SANS courses, are those courses only available during the scholarship training, or will they be available to continue after this experience ends?
Just during the training itself. So, SANS updates every course up to 4 times per year. And so, that's one of the reasons you don't, even if you're taking it online, you're not going to have an open-ended access to a course for multiple years. At the same time, we want you to take the skills you learn. If you pursue a certification, as you would in this program, you achieve that, you move on, you keep upskilling. You don't repeat the same learning over and over. You advance in the field.
Great. Do you review applications on a rolling basis? We have hard deadlines. We don't extend any deadlines ever. If we say 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, we will not offer extensions for those. We get requests all the time of, I missed my deadline, but you have 30 days. I mean, you have 29 more days to apply. So just go ahead and do that. So is it possible to advance to the SANS portion of the program with low vision? Not sure how I can see well enough to complete visual puzzles if they are in the aptitude test.
That's really a question for Haystack.
Yeah.
I would think, though, yes, because CyberGen IQ, which again is run by Haystack, is EEOC compliant. So I would have to imagine that you probably have to work with their team if necessary, request accommodations and such if they're required, but I would recommend doing that. Yeah.
And just as a refresher, I know some questions are coming in asking this, so I'm just going to give an overarching view that if you applied to any WiCyS program previously, you still need to apply for this program specifically in order for us to review your application. So if you competed last year, if you've already done the CyberGen IQ assessment, this is a new program. We're launching it fresh for the 4th cohort. So all applications are open until the 30th. So apply there. Is there anything we could do to practice or explore cybersecurity before September? Caitlin, Max, Hannah, do you have any recommendations? There's all sorts of resources available out there.
I think Hannah and I would both say look into CTFs. We're both big CTF people. And I think it's a great way to kind of trick yourself into learning cybersecurity skills. And more importantly, I think research skills that you will utilize a lot of. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I probably agree. It's not, you don't have to do anything, but yeah, it'd be fun, easy.
Yeah.
And I would bet if you go on YouTube and use some of the words they just said, you could find some pretty good videos walking you through CTFs, walking you through foundational cyber learning to get your mindset.
All right, some other questions. Is this very competitive, and what are the odds of being accepted generally? I wouldn't say it's very competitive. It's just about how much you put into it to achieve the results. So it's not a competitive space. It's extremely inclusive space. We're all here to learn and grow collectively together and champion one another. But any input or feedback that either anyone on the call could offer for that one?
I think my cohort, their biggest feedback for something like this was spend some time on your essay. Talk about why you want this and why you're there, because that'll help you stand out a little bit. But it's not it's healthy competition with like CTFs, but it's not a you versus me kind of thing. It's a we're all going to get there in the end kind of thing.
Yeah, I would add on to that. I think that the application essay is really important, and I think you're going to come up. A lot of people here are very impressive, and performance is often very similar. So setting yourself apart in some other way, that application essay and what's driving you and your background, that's really important and a really great way to kind of tell your story and set yourself apart from everybody else.
Oh, great feedback. And so we have time for one more question. And how is this level 1 CTF different from other WiCyS collaboration and learning CTFs, like the recent Target Cybersecurity Game Challenge? It was not, she felt it was not very beginner friendly. Each and every program that we run is different levels. So this is a beginner level CTF that's in this SANS scholarship training program. For this program that we're talking about today, it is beginner friendly. So Hannah's experience, Caitlin's experience going through it, it is designed for beginners. The Target Cyber Defense Challenge is more challenging. It definitely has some hurdles there. So I would be interested for you to join this program and become a part of it. Try to advance as far as you could go into each and every tier. And if you make it as a top tier, awesome. And if not, you've learned so much, and then go back to the Target Cyber Defense Challenge next year and see how you do. And so continue to put yourself out there and build and grow and expand on the knowledge that you're able to receive. So is there any last thoughts? I know we have a bunch of questions here that we're not going to be able to get through, but if there's any burning questions that anyone has, and if we haven't already answered it, please just email info@wicys.org. And our support team will be able to answer it there. A lot of questions are coming in. That information is available on our website. If you go to wicys.org and go under training programs, this security training scholarship is the top tab in that drop down. So go to the webpage and review that information there. And then any additional questions you have, reach out to info@wicys.org. So with that, I just want to pass it over and ask Max, Caitlin, and Hannah just 20 seconds of your advice that you'd like to give everyone that joined us today.
Yeah, I would say I think a lot of the unanswered questions that I saw were questions that were in the format of yada, 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 yada. Should I apply? Yes. If you're here and you're asking if you should apply, yes, just apply. You should apply. Blanket statement for every single one of those I saw, yes. And also the other questions that I generally saw were, do you have to be in the US? No. Is there an age limit? No. So what I'm saying is you should apply, basically. And I can't wait to see y'all's applications.
Yeah, same for me. Just apply. The worst that could happen is they say no. That's the worst. Just the best that could happen is it could change your life. And if you apply and you make it through, find me at the conference. We can drink energy drinks and eat gummy bears and talk about how crazy the CTFs were.
Hannah and Caitlin put it perfectly. I don't have much to add. I think it's worth your time to apply. It's worth your time, if you're interested in security, to try the introductory CTF and see if this is for you and you discover a passion there and find different learning paths as you move forward.
Wonderful. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for, Max, Hannah, Caitlin, for sharing your experience and part of your afternoon with everyone. And thank you, everyone that joined the webinar, for just joining and learning more about this. And we hope that tomorrow, when our applications open up, that all of you that joined us here today and all of those you listening to the recorded session go right on in and start applying for the program. We look forward to sending out those acceptance letters in the beginning of September and taking it from there. So thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye.